गुरु चरण सरोज रज निज मन मुकुर सुधारी भरनौ रघुवर विमल जसु जो दायक फलचारी। बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके सुमिरो पवन कुमार बल बुद्धि विद्या तेहु मोहि हरहु कलेस विकार। सियावर रामचंद्र की जय पवन सुत हनुमान की जय उमापति महादेव की बोलो भाई सब संतन की जय। Bhagwan has clearly explained the two wheels, the flag, and the flag is made up of, olden flags are made up of two. The main flag and the subsidiary flag, which gives beauty to the pataka, jisko kehte hain na. So Dwaja and Pataka. So it is Shilta that gives beauty to our Satyam. The four horses, Shama, you're nodding your head, right? Shama, Dama. Bala, Viveka, Dama, Parahita, Ghore, and Kshama, Kripa, Samata, Raju, Jore. Now, who is the charioteer? And here Bhagwan says, Ish bhajan sarathi sujana birati charma santo shakripana dana parasu buddhi shakti prachanda बर विज्ञान कठिन को दंडा अमल अचल मन त्रोन समाना समजम नियम सिली मुख नाना कवच अभेद विप्र गुरु पूजा एहि सम विजय उपाय न दूजा। As much as today people say that they are devoted, yet to be a devotee, people have got a lot of inhibition. Even those who come to study Vedanta, they say, Acha, you're becoming a Chinmaya Mission devotee. And they'll say, no, I'm not a Chinmaya Mission devotee. I go there because there is philosophy. Here Bhagwan says, Ish bhajan sarathi sujana. Bhajan, this word, we understand today only as singing something. But the word bhajan, if you see even in Bhaj Govindam, Gurudev has given so many beautiful dimensions to this word. They don't contradict each other. There are not many meanings of this word, but there are different dimensions to this word. So bhajan means to seek. Bhajan means to love. Bhajan means to know. Bhajan means to identify. All this meaning is in the word bhajan. So Ish bhajan. Yeah? Because if we just translate in English, daily worship of God. No? Today our word worship, rituals, we've been bombarded from all social media, television, pseudo-Hindus, Buddho-Hindus, other religions, so anyway. But devotion to Ishvara, God, Sarathi Sujana. As I said, if the driver himself is drunk, doesn't know where he is going, doesn't even have a GPS. And some people have GPS also. And Siri or Sheila is shouting away. But they have become so tone deaf to their wives that cleverly they put a woman's wives there. Because men are used to listening command. Turn right. So, you don't even have a GPS. Now, where, and even if you have a GPS, but the person himself is confused, drunk, Sarathi Sujana. A good charioteer, a good driver, a wise driver. So, Isha Bhajan Sarathi Sujana. In Kathopanishad, intellect is the charioteer. Which intellect? Which has got knowledge, which has got discrimination, which is clear about long-term, short-term gains and losses, and as well as who's clear about the goal and the path that takes you to the goal. Both must be clear. So today's exercise that you did, your road map. Yeah. In your road map also, most of you, what you did was set goals. But very few on how to achieve those goals. So two things we must do. Have the goal and set the highest goals. Not to show off, not to say that, set the highest goals. And don't think, well, if you don't reach that goal, at least you'll reach somewhere which will be better. Aim to reach that goal and go beyond the goal also. But know with clarity how you are going to achieve it. So this is called that Sarathi Sujana, means a wise charioteer who knows the destination, who knows the path, the road, and remains steady on the path and the road. Such is a good driver. So, Isha Bhajana Sarathi Sujana. Now, in the Mahabharata war, we all know the story, isn't it? Both Duryodhan and Arjuna went to Sri Krishna. Duryodhan reached first. Always good people are a bit slow. That's why you say, why are, these people so successful? They are out in the front. They have got their selfish gains. And just because you're doing selfless work, that doesn't mean that one should neglect. In fact, when Sanjay met, Satyaki met Arjuna, he was furious with Arjuna. He said, Duryodhan has reached before you, and you know Bhagwan's nature. Anybody will go and ask him for help, he would give him before. Bhagwan was sleeping. Narayan to sota hi rehta lagta hai. Yeah. Bhagwan was taking a nap. Duryodhan also knows, don't wake up anybody from his nap. Huh? In the discourse, your phone can ring, but the person who's sleeping beside you, do you know the curses he will give you? Anyway, we know the story. I hope you know the story, right? Okay. Bhagwan saw Arjuna first because Duryodhan sat on the head. And when you see someone, you first see someone who is at your feet because your glance is there, whether you're sleeping or you're standing. Nowadays, all the young ladies saying that my husband doesn't look at me. And Bhagwan said, since both of you have come to me, I saw Arjuna first. You say you came first. I will give one my army, and other I'll be just there on my own, but I will not pick up any weapons in the fight. See, Bhagavan is being completely fair. One can have only me, but no weapons. And other can have the whole army. What would you choose? You tell me. Another mouth to feed or the army? Come on, you have got a choice. You don't know in which kalpa you might become Arjuna or Duryodhan also. Yeah, so that because you know the story, right? But now I tell you one thing. Whenever we go to a temple, you all also, when you go to the temple, what do you ask Bhagavan? Something from Bhagavan. Bhagavan's retinue you ask for. How many ask, I want you, Bhagavan? Arjuna was wise. He said, I have you. Because the intelligence that has built such an army is far superior than the army. Everybody asks this question, Swamiji, what will happen to the world when artificial intelligence comes in? Remember, if we have the confidence and the ethics before we create such things, always remember the creator is more than the creation. He chose Krishna, and we all know that if Krishna was not there as the charioteer of Arjuna, and why did he choose to be the charioteer? Because he would be closest to Arjuna to protect him. And to lead him to protect him from his enemies and lead him to his victory. Bhagavan chose to become his charioteer. And remaining, we know it's not just a history, it's an epic. Yeah? And we know that if Krishna was not present on the chariot, Arjuna would have collapsed even before the battle. Yeah? As much as we hear these stories from childhood, but we do not recognize the significance of these stories. But there's another story, very interesting story. I'm sure you've not heard it. One day Arjuna was walking on the banks of the river Yamuna, and he sees one tapaswini sitting and meditating, concentrating her mind, but there is a bow and arrow beside her, and her hand is clenched on the bow. Arjuna, seeing anybody with bow and arrow, his interest. He asked her, he says, you are doing tapasya, why are you holding a bow and arrow? She says, I'm doing tapasya, concentrating my mind, and I'm holding on to the bow because I want to kill that Arjuna and that Draupadi. Arjuna to knew he had plenty of enemies. But he asked, but why do you want to? Why do you want to kill Draupadi? Why Draupadi? Why everybody is after her? And she says that Arjuna made Bhagwan to drive his chariot? You make Bhagwan your driver? Shouldn't he deserve to be killed? Arjuna to couldn't. No? So what if he died? But you don't make Bhagwan your charioteer. Though it is not that Arjuna asked Krishna to be his charioteer, but Bhagwan became his charioteer. How dare can we, any one of us, ask Bhagwan, you become the charioteer of our life? Draupadi's part I will not talk about. So, how dare you ask Bhagwan to be your charioteer? We don't deserve Bhagwan to be a charioteer. But why did Bhagwan become the charioteer of Arjuna? It is because of his single-pointed devotion. His seva, his love for Bhagwan, his surrender to Bhagwan. And love is about who you choose. Yame Vaishya Vrunate Tena Labhyaha. These are very significant portions of the Upanishads. Gain as many book knowledge as we get. But if you don't have that single-pointed devotion, you cannot reach the truth. Then what about these worldly goals? Or these worldly goals also cannot be achieved. What to talk about attaining God? Yeah? Without bhakti. And bhakti, bhajan means seva. Gurudev, wherever you see the word bhajan, Gurudev translates it as seva. Read the Ramayana also. Bhagwan talks about sevak. So, Isha bhajan means service of the Lord. Sarathi sujana becomes the wise charioteer. Even in the Upanishads, when it says that seva of the Guru, or in Bhagavad Gita, tadviddhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. That is called as, all these three together is called as bhajan. So, Isha bhajan sarathi sujana. What does it do? And what hypocrisy. We are ashamed to be devotees. And then people go to various institutions to learn management, this, etc., etc., etc. But don't you have to have love for your goal? Love is essential to achieve anything in life. And where there is love, there is no conflict. Where there is love, there is calmness of mind. Where there is love, there is single-pointedness or focus. All this which is required by us to achieve even the smallest of goal comes only through love. But when we tune ourselves to the highest, that is called as Ishvara, then not only the power that flows through us, but even the knowledge that we require at the right time to do the right thing, as though comes as a divine inspiration in all of us. It's as though Bhagwan speaks. Bhagwan guides. Even in Kathopanishad, it is very clearly pointed out in the commentary of Shankaracharya also. There the word is Hiranyagarbha. That when our mind is surrendered to the totality, then the power, the wisdom of the totality flows through us. Now when we hear it like this, the devotion to sunte rehte, But when I travel on flights and there's nothing to do, I pick up some journals or flight magazines, or sometimes somebody would have left a magazine behind, or they give you a magazine. And one of the magazines which I read, I think it was the Forbes. In that, all company news, etc. are there. Normally, I'm not interested in it. But probably that was the only magazine available. Others were all, some fashion magazines. And I opened an article written about some of the largest companies in the world, and study of the people from these companies. And the company's officers have observed and reported that when there is crisis in life, when there are storms in life, when there are challenges, when there is a worldwide recession, when there is panic of COVID or a pandemic, there are many virtues that we require, but only men and women who had devotion, they will not use the word God, but to some higher ideal or power, had some religious faith also, they are the ones who are able to go through the crisis. We brought out a book called as Storm to Perform. Whenever you have any problems, go through that book with a personal life, etc. We are also now in USA creating courses on that. And just now also we conducted one workshop and seminar on it, where teenagers, parents, and all came for that. But the key factor is that when there is devotion and faith in a higher wisdom, higher power, and when we tune up to it, surrender is not like, oh भगवान मैं तो कुछ नहीं कर सकता, आप करो मेरे लिए सब कुछ. फिर तो एक तपस्विनी खड़ी हुई है. When during crisis or such situations, when our mind has faith in the higher, that hope itself drives us forward. So, Isha Bhajana Sarathi Sujana. Guidance, etc. comes. Even those who have devotion, they will only study the Gita, isn't it? Otherwise, like scholars, you read the Gita, what is going to get? So, Isha Bhajana Sarathi Sujana. And in such a calm mind, wisdom flows. Directions come. Inspiration comes. Creativity comes. So, Isha Bhajana Sarathi Sujana. Now, the chariot metaphor is complete here. These are the main things. But when a warrior goes into the battlefield, arrows, weapons, enemies can come attack from different sides. So you must be equipped with things by which you can protect yourself from different weapons that attack you. Now briefly, I will just tell you first only that whatever obstacles or challenges that we feel outside in the world is generally a reflection of our own mental weaknesses. I don't know, have you gone for a foot reflexology? How many of you? Foot reflexology, or by now you tell your grandchildren, press my feet. Yeah. How many of you have your feet pressed? Gone for a massage or got a reflexology? If it's a Chinese, he'll say, no pain, no gain. Remember that whenever somebody presses your foot or your hand, where it pains the most is where your weakness is. When you are strong and wise in a situation doesn't appear to be a problem. But you do not know the situation, you are not capable of facing the situation, or you are afraid, then that situation becomes daunting. Huh? If you are flying in a helicopter, not even a mountain is a obstacle. But if you are walking on the road or driving on the road and one tree trunk has fallen down, there will be a traffic jam. Isn't it? So outside obstacles or difficulties that take over the peace of our mind or give us lack of confidence or appears to be very big or daunting is our own enemies within. Yeah? So the enemy outside is also created due to the enemy within. Ramchandraji did not consider Ravan as enemy, but Ravan considered Ramchandraji as enemy. Who created the enemy? Huh? And these are Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Ahankar, and the sixth one is called as Matsarya. Generally 5 are said, but the sixth is Matsarya. Lust. Lust means desire, an obsessive desire for anything. You can have lust for food, you can have lust for power. It's not just the attractions of two people. When it's an obsessive desire in any field, it is called as lust. It's not just desire. It is kama. And we know kama krodhobi jayate. So kama, when kama is not fulfilled, it becomes krodha. If it's fulfilled, it becomes lobha, greed. Anger, greed. Then whatever we think that we have produced or we have enjoyed or will give me enjoyment or I depended on it, then there is moha, delusion. And underlining all this is, I am the doer. I must get everything for myself. That's selfish ego. And if anybody is doing better than us, then jealousy. So these are the 6, really speaking, enemies, especially for spiritual students. There's no other enemy. There's no devil outside. Yeah? There is no Miss Maya outside. That Maya is in our mind only. That's what Gurudev says, mind is Maya at play. Kabir Das ji said, Maya thagni mein jani. Because where does she reside? Where is it that she doesn't reside? But the worst is she resides in my mind only. So these are the 6. Now what are the antidotes for it? So what are the weapons? So we can link each of these or even these together. Any one of these or all of these are conquered. So birati charma. That if arrows are coming towards you, you need or spear, anything, you need a shield. And birati means vairagya. Now the moment we heard the word vairagya, we get so frightened. It's like leaving everything, not being attached to anybody, family, which you, even if you're attached to, they are detached with you. You thought you can't come here, but when you go back, you'll find they were happier without you. But your ego, mental dependence on them. That's why rati, enjoyment, reveling, birati. Without this kind of reveling in your mind. Also the word raga, vairagya. Raga means our imaginary. Really speaking, anything you enjoy first in your mind. Actually, when you enjoy the object, it's only for a brief second. No? The remaining is fancy of the mind. Therefore, vairagya. And vairagya is not this reluctant giving up of thing. It is actually independent to be happy. Tell me, to be happy, how many things do you require? Make a list. Do these exercises, Make a list of what all you... And if you say, nothing I require for my happiness, then give away everything that is there in your house, including your house. You don't require it for your happiness. Why are you putting a burden on your head? The big question is, are we independent to be happy? If you bring your phone, you kept it in the seat, when you went away, it got lost. Now you see your misery, how it starts. Your dependence on anything for your happiness is your lust. And Vairagya is freedom from everything to be happy. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.